Small town feel with big time ideas. After all, you are entitled to Brad's opinion. Here's your host, Brad Allard.
Well, we survived the weekend again. How about you, Josh? You survived the weekend?
Yes, sir.
That's good. You do anything fun, exciting, provocative?
No,
Nothing?
not really.
No, neither did I. I have Tina Michael here today. We're going to talk about several things. We're going to talk about her book. We're going to talk about the Pac-Man group that feeds children, and also the Mobius Foundation and what's going on with that, and just kind of generally catch up. And most importantly, the chess club. Yeah, you still running that, are you?
Every Monday night.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't run it. My son Eli runs it. I don't even know a pawn from a queen.
Neither do I. Well, I mean, I know it, and I remember playing a few times, but I was too busy, studying my scripture to play chess. Right, Josh?
Me too. Actually, when I was in
Why are you looking at me?
Yeah.
when I was in school, we had to memorize chapters of scripture. I'm not even joking.
Well, I mean, I'm at Sunday school. Did you go to a private school?
I went to Oak Trail Christian Academy for a few years in Granbury, Texas, and literally they made us memorize chapters.
Well, I don't remember going through that, but I do remember, we had the memory verses in Sunday school. I guess that's close enough. Anyway, we're going to talk about all these things, but before we talk about all these things, let's talk about the sponsors, which you know well. All right, our place, of course, it's really a great place. And I hear a lot of good things about the one here in Crowley. I've been there a couple of times, but mostly when I go to our place, of course, I go to the one in Burleson. But I hear the one in here is getting to be pretty popular, and a lot of good comments about the food. And I'm like, but of course, I mean, that's what that they're known for is service and food and whatnot. I think Otto's back from his trip. He went to Aruba this last week. It's a rough life, isn't it?
Hard knock life.
Hard knock life. But then, of course, Gina's, which you're very familiar with. Isn't tonight chess night?
Yes, sir.
What do you do with it?
It is from 6 to 9, and it's just casual chess, any skill level, any age. We have people from 5 years old all the way up into their 70s.
So if I go there as some sort of newbie, I'm not going to get hustled. Oh, I don't know anything. But y'all don't play for money, do you?
We've had one tournament, but it's just casual chess usually.
Mm-hmm.
We had one tournament where there was an entry fee, but we also had a 3-section for beginners.
Yeah, well, that'd be me definitely. But that's always a good place. I was there last Monday night about. Once every 6 weeks, it's my wife's turn to host a ladies' prayer meeting kind of thing. And they always want the men out of the way. So I go there and meet a couple of guys. And, and I saw, like you said, not little kids, but, probably 12-year-old kids playing. And then I saw another table, a couple of guys my age and that kind of thing. So it is for all ages, to say the least. And it seemed like a lot of fun. It was a little quieter than normal, which is okay by me.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Yeah, but it still was a nice evening, and that's what I like about it. We went there, and they had something on TV, and I asked the girls, "Will they change it to the baseball game?" Sure. Click, click, click. Boom. There's a baseball game. So it's a very home kind of place for us, and I really enjoy it, and I appreciate Otto for what he does. Speaking of which, we'll talk about the end of the show about the event at his place at Gina's on September 17th. The big group meeting we have there for North Texas Giving Day. That's always a nice thing, and you may want to have a piece of that action, so to speak. All right, I'm posted here on all this. Also, John Williams over at Old Pro Roofing, 817-734-2756. I'm looking at the forecast. It's not supposed to rain until mid-September.
Oh, no.
Well, but, and so people say, well, then I'm good on my roof. Well, you don't know that. You need to have John look at it, and you need to have it documented. So if you have it inspected here in August or September, and the inspection's free, you'll have some documentation that if we have a bad weather event in, say, January or February, you won't get that was the old damage routine from the insurance companies. And so you'll have what you need to be able to go and get your roof taken care of, because sooner or later we're going to have weather, hopefully. So 817-734-2756. Like I said, the inspection's free, and there you go. So give them a holler. Also, my friend Jeff Kelly over at the Wethington Agency, 817-781-0546. You're moving in or around the area, then you need to talk to him because there's a lot of real estate moving in Johnson County still. He does all over Johnson County, and he does some Tarrant County work as well. And he sold a couple of houses in Hood County. So he's not, strictly Burleson only. He goes around, and he has several houses for showing and for sale. There's a web page about Johnson County realtors that people ought to get hooked up with if they're thinking about moving or anything like that, because that's where they show a lot of their houses, and it's pretty informative. Plus, he has that goofy dad joke of the day. Oh, they're awful. Mm-hmm. I think the worse the dad joke, the better the dad joke. Is that it? I don't know. I know Josh would know because he likes dad jokes.
Yeah, the king of the dad jokes over here.
Yeah, that's right. You like the dad jokes. So
Oh, yeah.
you just need to be a dad.
No.
Yeah. Is that happening anytime soon? Okay, fine. Anyway, 817-781-0546. Okay, and also, my friend Rod Lewis, tonight we're trying one of the recipes that's in the back of, I think it was last week's edition of the Burleson News Express, some sort of peach glazed chicken, which my wife likes peaches and she likes chicken. Therefore, so do I. And so we're going to try that. Burleson News Express is like 55 to 60 places now. Now, you've been in that, haven't you?
I was in Burleson Now.
Okay.
That was a different one. But yeah, they came to my kitchen and did a photo shoot. And
Burleson Now. Jordan DeWald? She's now kind of taken over that.
This has been a few years ago. I think it was
okay.
2021 or 2022. But yeah.
But Jordan DeWald and her husband Brock, who does a lot of local music here, she's, I guess, the editor, if you will. I mean, she's now running that thing, so it's a pretty nice thing. And I used to work with her at the high school. She's a very sweet woman. So Burleson News Express. I picked my copy up at Daydream Coffee, which you are also familiar with.
Yes, love Daydream. And if they want me in Burleson News Express, just give me a call.
I will. I'll send Rod your way. I mean, he needs material and subscribers and advertisers and all the above. Also, True Climate, Heating and Cooling, 682-244-2019. Will Cobb and his sister Emily Cobb will take care of you. Again, you need to have your air conditioner inspected. I know right now we're getting, hopefully, God willing, towards the end of summer. But then we got the winter coming, right?
It's going to be 106 today. I don't think we're...
I love Texas, but this is where it really tries my devotion. Is the month of August and early September. It just weighs on you, but we'll get through it. We'll have our 2 days of fall, and then boom, it'll be winter, which we haven't really had too bad of winters in the last couple. But when we have one, it is a bad one, and you want to make sure your units are still working. Your HVAC is still on par for what's going to be asked of it. Now, they have a $99 a year program where it's kind of like insurance, if you will. If you pay for that, you get much cheaper inspections, discounts on repairs and on replacements and whatever else. So give them a holler and to ask them about that. I think the office will be glad to hear you. Michelle, the office manager, will be glad to talk to you. Again, 682-244-2019. I think that's it. That's it. Okay, so which would you like to talk about first?
Oh, you're just going to leave that up to me? Huh?
Well, I guess I'd like to talk about Pac-Man first.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay, now what exactly is this?
Okay, Pac-Man is a program that helps feed children in BISD that are food insure. They actually send 250 students home with meals every weekend, and in the summer. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, yes.
Yeah, that's a lot. And so I love Pac-Man because we have so many great places in Burleson that help out. But Pac-Man actually sends things home that children can make themselves. So they're sending food to kindergartners all the way up to seniors in high school. So they take things like ramen and SpaghettiOs and things that kids really enjoy, and they deliver it to the schools each week.
Well, if you would, Josh, put it on the screen because that's the contact information is there. How are y'all financed? I mean, is it just donations, or is it like, are you working through a church? You working through an organization?
They do, and you'll have to forgive me. I'm not on the board or anything with Pac-Man. It's just a charity that's close to my heart.
Well, that's good. That's fine.
But they store, just in case I get some of the information or don't have it. I know that it is not ran. I don't believe it's ran through the church, but the church does help out
Which church?
The Methodist Church on McAllister. I know they let them store the food there and help them get it to where it needs to go. But
So do they take donations? I
Yes.
guess. Okay.
They take
donations of food or donations of money. Oh,
both.
okay,
And there's actually a list. I don't know if he has but basically it's just anything that a child can make themselves, like ramen and SpaghettiOs, cereal bars, no peanuts, just because the
right.
school and they have, But there's the list. So things like that. And my children, on one of the lists, see where it says Vienna sausages, my kids told me that I'm not allowed to donate those things because they don't think the children will want that.
Vienna sausages. Are you kidding? I love them. When I was
That's
a
because
kid.
we're old. I don't think children
Oh.
today eat that, but I'm not sure.
Well, when I think of Vienna sausages, I think about when I was a young man working on my uncle's farm, driving a tractor, and basically they dropped me off about early morning, and I'd see them late night. And so for lunch, I had a box of saltine crackers and about 2 or 3 cans of Vienna sausage and a 6-pack of Orange Crush or something like that. Hence my diabetes. And and so when I was eating, I just make little Vienna sausage sandwiches. And the thing about it is, it's kind of fatty, isn't it? Well, you're out there working, you need the carbs and the fat, I guess. But it was cheap and easy and canned and everything. And so and then they come out with all these different barbecue sauce and all these other stuff. And it's my wife. I was telling her about this a little while back, and she's like, "Vienna sausages are gross." And I said, "No, you just don't know." No, but I do some stuff with promises, and they tell me what they need the most when it comes to kids is, like you said, stuff that they can prepare themselves. So they like SpaghettiOs or Chef Boyardee stuff, particularly those with the pop top can. I mean, you think that's what difference does it make? It does. I mean, that way you don't have to mess with the can opener. And which I still find to be a challenge because we don't.
Well, and sometimes like we're privileged or I know I am in certain areas, and some of these kids may not even have, I hate to say it, but what if their electricity is cut off?
Well,
or something like that. So we kind of have to think of things like that.
When I was in college, it was more than once. I opened up a can of SpaghettiOs and just ate it over the sink right out of the can, and people think that's gross. That's good stuff.
You were in there, Beanie Weenies.
Yeah, there was.
Did you eat those too?
Yeah.
I thought that was a good thing. My kids were like, "Don't send those kids that," and then they want to send like the spicy ramen, and I'm like, "What if that goes to a kindergartner? We're not gonna buy spicy ramen."
Well, when it came to ramen back in my college days, we didn't have in our dorms. So Martin dorm and Baylor was, I think the Pilgrims built it. It's so old, and they didn't have the wiring for. We didn't have microwaves, and they didn't really want us to have like little mini dorm fridges because it would, blow the fuses.
Our hot plates, we used to sneak stuff like that in.
So you'd have to have stuff you could store, and that's where the Vienna sausages come in, but also ramen. And we had sinks, and you put the hot water in the sink, and you could fill it up and put your ramen in it, or in a cup or whatever. But it was something that college kids ate. Because it was cheap. You could buy like 25 of them for like $2.
Now, the ramen the kids eat now, my daughter's ramen is like $12 for like 8 of them. They're really expensive.
Well, not in my day. It's like they're giving them away.
They do have like the little cups. They're like $0.25. But anyway, when we go shopping, we try to get things that maybe they won't get all the time. So if anyone's shopping, I always think buy what you can, but I always think that's good to try to get them treats.
Well, you can look at fruit cups. You talk about breakfast bars. All those are really good stuff. But, and again, I'm just referring to my Promises experience, and they had the kids eat free all summer. And, Harvest House had their program. I know House of Hope just finished their program. But trying to bridge that gap between May and August, for kids that eat on government meals and whatnot. They needed stuff that the kids could do because, mom will be at work probably, or dad may be at work. And one of the things that my mom taught me when I was in high school and middle school was how to make simple meals, which paid off when I was in college. I wasn't making like, Chateaubriand or anything like that. But I learned how to make a roast, and it's not that hard. I learned how to, cook this or, cook these things. And, I just think, but Promises and Howard's House and House of Hope and this program, I don't think people realize just what a safety net these things provide. I mean, for some people, this is how they eat. I go there into Promises, and you think of people that receive this kind of help. They're a certain type of people, right? They're street people. They live under the bridge. You go in there, and it's older people. It's moms. A lot of them have jobs. A lot of them work. But then in this time of year, when they get an electric bill or a car repair or something like that, they're going to have to make some hard choices. So I think we help bridge the gap in those hard choices.
And we are all one car accident, one diagnosis, one catastrophe. I don't care how much money you've got saved in the bank. You are one diagnosis away from being possibly someone who might need a program like that.
Well, I'm about 10 months away from Medicare, and everybody's like, oh, you're going to have it made and shaved. Well, no, I guess I'll pay for it. But it will be a relief, but not everybody has that.
No.
And most people, don't qualify for Medicaid. Okay? Most the people that are the working poor, if we want to call them such, they're the ones that don't have access to a lot of these programs. So they don't get food stamps. They don't get Medicaid. And even if they do get food stamps, it's not anything like what a lot of people think it is. They think, well, they're getting all this, money to spend, or or cards or whatever you want to call it. It's about a week's worth of meals, basically.
Even with Medicare, I believe I used to do health insurance back in the day, but even with Medicare, they don't have an out-of-pocket max. So you know how most of your insurance is, like my insurance has an out-of-pocket max, I believe, of like $15,000. Medicare does not.
Well, both my dad, who passed away last August, and my mom, who's, I'm glad to say, has stabilized quite a bit in the last 3 or 4 weeks. I thought really by this time we'd be talking about serious things, you might say. They're both been on Medicare, and their out-of-pocket was minimal. But they also paid for the extra programs. Okay, and a lot of people get the basic, and that's about it. But they also paid the extra premiums to get this kind of coverage and that kind of thing. And my wife is going to be on Medicaid in about 2 weeks. She don't want me to tell people
Medicare,
that.
not Medicaid. You said Medicaid.
Did I? Okay.
Yeah, I was just fixing it. And
that's all right. That's right. You're right. I get those
You're
words
good.
confused, but Medicare is right.
Yeah.
And and there's a lot to be decided upon. But anyway, back to this. I'm just saying, you talk about that one car accident away or one car repair away. It happened to me in a sense. Last month, I had to get my brakes done, and I was surprised. I wasn't shocked because I kind of expected it, but I still was a little surprised at the expense of just getting the car repaired. Yeah, I was lucky to have the wherewithal. I was blessed to have enough to take care of it, but not everybody does.
Oh. And like I said, even if you have money saved in the bank, I have had many claims over millions of dollars for, and you never know, if that's going to.
Well, let's segue into that then, because you just had surgery, did you not?
I have a bunch of eye surgeries all the time. I swear I live at Star Retina now. So he did tell me I was his most famous patient and one of the youngest.
The most famous because of this show, right?
I think so.
Okay, let's hope so. I'm going to go with that. Yeah, there you go. For my ego. But is everything okay, or is this routine?
Yes. No, it's not. Well, I'm going to say it's a routine as part of my life. No one else would consider a routine, but I'm just kind of used to it. I had been fighting for my vision since I was a child, and I'm to the point where I just realized that's going to be a battle that I'm going to face until I'm not here any longer, but I will win. I haven't lost yet.
So what do we talk about here? Is it a detached retina? Is it something along those lines?
I have several things wrong with my eyes. Well, I have Mobius syndrome, which is very rare. 1 in 500,000 people have it. See my rare shirt.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So that causes my eyes not to be able to move laterally, or actually I can't move them from side to side or up and down. So I have that going on. So I have no peripheral vision. And my eye muscles are really weak. So it's always been hard for me to close my eyes all the way. But when I had my tumor, they went and removed it. It damaged my facial nerves even more. So I can't close this left eye all the way. So I get dry eyes, which you think is no big deal.
No, it's a big deal.
I thought it was it's not that big of a deal. Throw some eye drops in there. No, that will destroy your corneas. So I have cornea issues now. And that's difficult. And I have retina issues, which I'm bleeding behind my retinas. They found that in like 2023. But luckily they caught it before I had any symptoms. So I've been having retina injections since 2023. Had few cornea procedures last year, and I couldn't see for a few months. So it's just, but like I said, I'm not going down without a fight.
Yeah.
It'll be.
Well, I have a relative that has not the same situation or same cause, let's put it that way, but it has eye issues, and it's an ongoing thing. It's an every month thing.
Yeah.
It's not like, well, this will take care of it for a couple of years. No,
I have to go in every month, and sometimes they'll be like, oh, you don't need to come in, but once every 3 months. But when I've done that, like one day I drove to Kroger and I went to drive home and I could not see. So
That's not
I
good.
go every month.
Yeah.
Because now I'm like, we're gonna just catch that way. We can catch it if we need to.
Now, you say this is a condition of Mobius syndrome.
Yes, the eye movement is.
Well, you wrote your book, and we talked about it last time. By the way, how is that book doing? Is it selling still?
It did so great at first, and
it is.
still. I get a little trickle here and there, and I have some meet and greets and some signings that I'm sure will help. It has slowed down a lot. So I've done a little bit over 8,000, which isn't bad on Amazon. But
Better than most, actually.
yeah, it's not bad at all. I just I need some more Amazon reviews. So if anyone has read my book, I would love it if you would go on and give me an honest review.
I mean, I read it, and I could give a review.
That's what causes the algorithm to reset our reviews. So. And like we talked last time, it's on Barnes and Noble now too, which is really cool.
Yeah, I like the fact we have Barnes and Noble again. Us old timers remember when that more or less that general area had Borders bookstore.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and that was, gosh, that went out 15 years ago or something like that, and I always enjoyed it. This is kind of a mini Barnes and Noble, though. I mean, they don't have the coffee shop, and they don't have all the, pastries and whatever else like the one on. Hewlin, yeah. I'm glad that they're making a comeback for the brick and mortar, because when buying books off Amazon, great, you get a discount, whatever. But there's still there's a lot to be said about going to a bookstore, picking up a book, kind of looking through it, holding it in your hand, things of that nature. And so I'm glad that at least it's making a comeback, and I hope it does. Becomes successful. I know that as a teacher, I use that Borders a lot to order books for students, and I hope the BISD does that through Barnes and Noble. Then get it at a discount, and the kids can get it cheaper that way. It's cheaper for the district; they don't have to pay for it. So there you are.
My husband loves half-price books.
I do too. I do too.
I guess it's my ADHD. I walk in a store like that and feel so overwhelmed that I know.
Well, I like it. Well, I know where I'm going. I'm not going to go check out every, I don't go to the fiction section. I don't go to the self-help section, even though I could probably use it. I'm just saying, I go to the history section, the current event section, that kind of thing. Or the comic book section. Still do that. I used to collect comic books when I was a kid, and I still have nostalgia for them.
Nice.
For the old ones. And so, and if we're in Dallas, Robin and I are in Dallas, in a certain area of Dallas, we'll make a pit stop there at that big flagship, half price off of Northwest Highway. You ever been there, Josh? The big one?
The which one?
The half price bookstore. We're talking about books, hard
Yes,
books.
I know books. I know
Okay.
books. I have not been to the big half price books.
It's that now. If you're going to be overwhelmed, that's where to do it. They have it organized into sections and all that.
It's like Ross and TJ Maxx. They overwhelm me too, and my daughter loves that. I just like when I can go into Barnes and Noble and say, okay, here this is. I don't want to look through everything, even to find a treasure.
Well, I collect books. I don't. When I say collect them, I mean first editions and all that. No, I'm not. I don't buy antiques or anything. I do have some older books and older collections that we have bought at antique malls and whatever else. But as far as like books of, investor type value, I have maybe a couple that one day might accrue some value. But most of the books I have, I get at half price or get it on sale at Amazon, or I go to Barnes and Noble and it's on sale. And I have about nearly 800 books.
Wow.
And, and they're all pretty much on history or social commentary, current events kind of stuff. And it's kind of weird. My feeling about it is like, I almost feel like, I don't know, I'm preserving for the future books because so many people really don't have experience with books. I mean, it's all on screen.
And I've read some scary stuff, and I'm sure all of it's not true, but some things about like AI and getting rid of like physical books and all sort. I don't know how much of that is like tinfoil, but
well, the thing about it is there'll be probably a push towards those things, but I think particularly you've got people in Josh's generation that's kind of going retro. You like vinyl, right, Josh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Have a lot of vinyls, have a lot of hardcover books.
Yeah, hardcover and vinyl. It's like they're almost rediscovering it. I have a ton of vinyl, some of it from my youth, some of it I bought at half price. I mean, I got just about every major 70s album you could think of. And my daughter, who's that same age as Josh, they said, no, that's a thing, with their generation is vinyl and all that. I do not, and I hope not see 8 tracks come back into play. Yeah.
I guess I was too young. I don't remember 8. Well, I remember the rest, but I don't really remember like having an 8-track in my car. But I was born at the end of 79, but I don't know. I know my daughter, the 90s clothes are coming back and like the music and.
Well, that's, I had a Trans Am, and when I was in high school, last year and a half, it helped me get turned down by a better class of girls. That's a bump. Anyway,
he didn't get it.
No, I'm just saying, I had the same kind of Trans Am that Burt Reynolds was driving around. And
sorry, I'm just trying to remember what a Trans Am is.
I know, right?
Lord have mercy, son.
I'm kidding.
Smokey and the Bandit.
I'm kidding.
Anyway, but I had a cassette, 8-track cassette, and then I replaced it with cassette tapes. And then I remember, oh gosh, it was about mid-'80s. I heard my first CD, and I thought, we have landed on the moon. This is the apex of our evolution. And now CDs again are retro,
outdated.
Yeah, and all this other stuff. So it's all right. Tomorrow's show is going to be interesting. It's just going to be me ranting. But I saw a documentary over the weekend on 1975, and some of the same things that they were upset about, same things they were going through in 1975, which I was 13 then. We're going through now, and that's kind of be the thesis of the show.
History repeats itself.
Yeah, but it's but they also had some of the cultural stuff too, and it's like, and a lot of these youngins, they like retro. Well, I guess we started talking about your book, and here we go all the way.
No, you're good. I hated that the 90s are retro because that makes me feel all some kind of way. But my daughter a song will come on, and she'll be like, and I'll be like, at least that's from the 90s. And she's like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. I think I would know.
Well, I hear a lot of songs over the years that people think are new, and they're like, no, that was actually first recorded in 1955, or something like that. By the way, yesterday should have been a national holiday. The passing of the king. You know what I'm talking about, Josh? You know who the king is, don't you?
I'm clueless.
Elvis, right?
Oh, yeah.
See,
Yeah, he died.
Not the King of England.
I didn't even know.
Please, who cares about him? Elvis died in 1977 as of yesterday's date. And I remember where I was. I was in a friend's house, and we were, I don't know, I mean, may have been playing chess because he liked to do that a lot. And we were listening to the radio, and they broke in and said Elvis has died. I'm like, that really is sad,
See, the equivalent of someone who was born near 1980 is the astronaut. That like in 9/11. Those are the two things. Like, do you remember where you were at?
Oh yeah, Challenger. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Well, let's talk about your Mobius Foundation.
Okay.
What is that? I know. I remember reading on your Facebook page 2-3 months ago. You went to some sort of convention, did you not?
They had a conference every other year. Last year was in Salt Lake City, and I did a presentation for that in a seminar. And next year it's going to be in Pittsburgh.
I've actually heard Pittsburgh's very nice. Now, as far as what does this Mobius Foundation do? Is this an active organization that raises funds, or is it just more like an awareness type of thing?
They do raise funds for the Mobius community. It's a nationwide.
So it's not just something you started yourself.
No,
Okay.
it's a 501(c)(3). They had been around long before I have, but because there are a lot. It's very rare syndrome, but it's so amazing that I guess it's so rare we wouldn't meet each other in everyday life, but there are a lot of us. And so, they raise money to help members of the Mobius community. They have research, medical research. I'm actually part of a medical research study.
So you're actually one of the clients or patients, if you will.
Yes. And to help like children who are born, so we can learn to see. So they do medical research. They help as far as like socially, some cases are more severe than others. So a lot of people in the Mobius community, I want to say a lot of us aren't married. It's like they help people find careers and things like that. They have like awareness initiatives for schools to help. That way, when I was younger, that way they don't feel so alone.
Well, that's a subject of your book, is it not?
Yes, definitely. When I walked in, and I did not even know I had Mobius until I was almost 40 years old.
Well, do people confuse it with other symptoms?
The doctors do.
Yeah.
Most doctors have not even heard of Mobius. I'm always asked, did you have a stroke? If I see a new doctor, did you have a stroke? Do you have Bell's palsy?
Yeah, right.
Those are the two main things.
Well, that's actually when I told a couple of people what the show's content was going to be about the Mobius, and they go, I'm not sure what that is. And I said, well, if you saw somebody with Mobius, your first reaction would be Bell's palsy or a paralyzing stroke.
Yes, and it's so It's so funny. I say it's funny. I think it's cute. Some of the little girls with Mobius, they could be they look more like my daughter than my daughter looks like my daughter, and but there's never been a case where a parent has had a child with it's not hereditary.
Is it something that just some sort of genetic situation, or was it did something happen during pregnancy or anything like that?
And see, that's also, I address that in my book too. No, it is not anything that would be genetic as far as like hereditary or family members. Usually there's one person. It is just a mutation between the 6th and 7th cranial nerve. They didn't develop properly, or some people are missing those nerves altogether.
So this foundation, though, are they seeking some sort of therapy, or is this preventative in any way?
Mobius syndrome is not preventative.
Yeah.
So they do medical research to help people who have Mobius live, more fulfilling lives, because there are a lot of medical things that go along with it. I know as far as raising money, they do like travel reimbursement, because a lot of us aren't like I'm lucky I can drive to Dallas, but people who live in Timbuktu, they might not can find a doctor who would be specialized enough. So the foundation does a lot as far as because they might have to travel. So I know they have a travel reimbursement program. They have a career development program. We're starting a new peer-to-peer program where it's going to be like Mobius Connect. So that way, if someone needs a buddy per se, not necessarily someone with Mobius, but even a parent of a child, like I might be their buddy because I know what their child is going through.
Now, you said just a minute ago that you didn't really have it diagnosed as Mobius until you were at 40?
No, almost, I think it was 37.
Okay, well, what did
Yeah.
they think it was prior to that?
When I was born, my mom didn't have an ultrasound. I guess they didn't really do routine ultrasounds back then. So when I was born, nothing was suspected to be wrong. Like before she delivered, they had no idea that there was like anything wrong. So when I was born, she was told I had Down syndrome. At one time, she was told I had cerebral palsy. Like it was just like, we're going to throw some diagnoses out there until one sticks, kind of. My mom was told to institutionalize me before she got too attached.
Again,
because
part of the book.
And that's so interesting as well, because I never did a lot of research on this. I just kind of assumed that stuff like that ended like in the 40s or 50s. No, it was up until 1991 so I mean, my life could have turned out totally different if she would have. But back then, I did see a neurologist quite a bit, actually. They just came to the conclusion I had neurological deficits, is what they said. I didn't walk until I was like 3. My mom had to carry me everywhere I went. Didn't talk.
So when you were growing up and going to, young adulthood and things of that nature, they were treating it as something that it wasn't. Did that cause any damage?
No, not really, because there really wasn't any treatment. They basically said they would just treat the symptoms. Like as far as my eyes, I did have, I think I had actually, it might have been 14, either 12 or 14 eye surgeries growing up to help my eye muscles. They just treated the symptoms.
Right.
So as far as that was my biggest symptom, that and my balance. And there was really nothing they could do for like my balance except for physical therapy. So basically they just said, this is how you are, and kind of deal with it.
So the Mobius Foundation really is as much about treating not just the symptoms of the patients, but also the acceptance.
It's a community
of the patients,
definitely.
and try to education of the community. As far as the health issues, you talked about, how the difficulty with your eyes and things like that. Is there other difficulties physically with Mobius syndrome?
For my case, actually, I have a pretty mild case of Mobius syndrome. I have friends who were born without limbs. I have a friend named Amy who was born without legs. And some people with Mobius have club feet. A lot of them are not able to hear. Or if their hearing is impaired, I should say. There are several different.
Is there, when you talk about Mobius, does everybody have your situation?
As far as my facial paralysis
and eyes and other health-related issues.
Classic Mobius syndrome.
I didn't want to ask it that way.
You're good. There are variants of Mobius syndrome, and a lot of people with Mobius syndrome have other comorbidities with it. But everyone, to be diagnosed with Mobius syndrome, you would have to have one side of your face, it would be partially or, paralyzed, and your eye movement. I believe some people can move their eyes up and down, and they have this backwards, but none of us can move them side to side, or it might be the other way around.
Okay.
But I can't move mine. I have no control over my eye movement, so that's why I don't. Other people who have Mobius have other things going on too. Like I have another syndrome called Duane syndrome that affects my eyes too. And a lot of people with Mobius have something called Poland's syndrome, which I'm not like too familiar with, but I guess they kind of go hand in hand.
Well, it just, because I know that when we talked about it before, about how little people knew about this situation, they just described it to other things, like Bell's palsy or something along those lines. But now that people have a better understanding of it, have they developed treatments that are unique, shall we say, to Mobius syndrome?
Well, definitely. Like I said, there's no cure, and it's a syndrome. It's not a disease. So there's really it's just our 6th and 7th cranial nerves are not, they're either underdeveloped or missing. So you kind of just treat the symptoms. But having Mobius, other things happen to you after you've been diagnosed affect your mobius. Like I was telling you, like when I had my tumor, my tumor was hereditary. And that's an interesting story. But my cousin, she lives in Rio Vista. She had the same tumor I had, and they took hers out. She's fine. They took mine out. My facial nerves were already weak. So it kind of took what I had left of my smile, and I can't close this eye all the way. I could before I had. So it just exasperates the, whatever you're going through. But as far as the tumor I had, we did my ancestry DNA, and my great grandfather actually, on his death certificate, it was like 1901. He died of the same kind of tumor that I had, and then my cousin had it. Isn't that odd?
Yeah, I'd need to do a DNA test or DNA tracing or whatever else.
Yeah, yeah. So now that's good to know, because I can like have my kids checked out, and just be on the lookout.
I talk about my diabetes pretty often, but I'm the only one in my family that had it, and then my son now has type 1, which is different.
I have diabetes too.
That's a beating. I tell you,
it is a beating.
It's a day-to-day thing. I'm not complaining, because there are people with cancer that that's a day-to-day thing too. But there are some days I'm like, oh, geez, I'd sure like a big piece of cake or something like that. But you just really can't do that. But it is what it is.
Are you on insulin, or
insulin,
you are?
Yeah, I'm like my own personal voodoo doll.
I get
stick
it.
myself all the time.
I'm not telling you to eat the cake, but I'm going to tell you every once in a while.
Well,
eat the cake, just a little bit.
Well, yesterday we had a little bit of peach cobbler at my mom's house. She's bedridden, okay, and we would go to my sister's house where she's taken care of, and I had a little bit of ice cream and peach cobbler, and then I had to,
you have to
medicate
back
for it.
off a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, but two or three of my vices, if you will, that are not really great for diabetics is I like potatoes. I'm sorry, and I like burritos, and I haven't had many of those.
That's what I was gonna say. I could eat 5 Hershey bars and my blood sugar will be fine. But if I eat one baked potato, it's going to be like skyrocketed. Yeah. It's the carbs more than the sugar.
Right. As far as like pizza, it depends on what pizza I order.
Well, Gina's has crustless.
The crustless pizza? Well, it's all right. It's like, I like the pizza too much. I'll take my chances.
Oh, no.
Well, I really do. When I go to Gina's, I will prepare for it. I will shoot up, and then after I eat, I'll check my numbers and see what I need to do then. But no, I make arrangements. There's just certain things I do avoid altogether. Though rice is one of them, and I like rice. But anyway, we're not talking about it.
No, but that's okay. I mean, we all have, and you said like having cancer is, I believe that no matter what someone is going through, that it's important, even if it may not. Diabetes, actually it is. It's the number one. It might be as bad as cancer, but I mean, even if you think it's important.
Well, diabetes is, if it's treated, you can live with it. And I am fortunate that I'm treated with it. I have the medications. I go to the endocrinologist. My numbers have been good the last 2 years, and over the last 10 years since I've been on the insulin, I've only had 2 bad reports in the 10 years. The rest of them have been fine. So I'm fortunate.
Yeah, me too. I got my A1C down at like 5.8.
Well, mine, the lowest I've gotten was 6.4.
Well, that's still
not
good.
Too bad for me. I'll take it. But the thing about it is, I just kind of wondered now how many people are diabetic and not even know it, because it's not something that if you're running real high on your sugar, you really wouldn't know it.
You get normal. Like I used to work for Texas Health Resources, and they do a lot of, I told you I did insurance stuff, and they do like health fairs, and like they want their employees really healthy. One time they gave us $100 gift card. We'd come get our fingers pricked. So everyone went down to get our gift cards. My blood sugar was 700. I was walking around and I felt fine.
Wow. I don't think I've ever hit that number.
No, yeah. I hadn't even eaten.
Oh my Lord, 700! I'm surprised you didn't.
They made me go to the emergency room. I felt fine.
Well, my worst number was like 390 or something like that.
That's still pretty.
Well, but that was 10 years ago. So I don't, but I'm just saying.
My body's strong. My doctor was like, I'm just strong.
I should have a show where we talk about preventative care because I'm lucky to do it in a sense because my doctor insists every 6 months I go and have my blood test, and then I go every 4 months to the endocrinologist where they do the A1C and all this other stuff, and I go in and sit in that waiting room for the endocrinologist in particular, and I see some people in bad shape. And, and I talked to the doctor, and she says that I'm the easiest patient she'll have that day because she'll see some serious cases.
That's when I go into my surgeon's office, like I'm the healthiest person in there, and it just brings you back to reality.
When's the last time you've been to the doctor, Josh?
Not too long ago.
Good. Do you take care of that kind of thing?
I need to do it more, but it'd be easier if I had insurance.
No, we're going to get into Medicare for all. We can talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll save that for tomorrow.
I want to come and do the rant.
Tomorrow?
No, I'm just saying that's what we should have done. You know, I like to rant with them.
Well, I'll have time maybe sometime, but
no, I'm just playing.
Well, tomorrow I'm going to talk about the war and some of the things. I had an opening. There was a guest I was going to have, but then we kind of, I don't want to say miscommunicated, but we said sometime in August, and so I got a hold of him last week. He said, I'll be out of town next week, so we're just going to postpone him for a week or so. And I haven't done a rant in a while, and Josh likes rants.
Yippee.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Does that bother you?
No, it's fine.
No, I just drag him in, and he's
you
like...
need someone who disagrees with you, so that way...
I can do that.
I think he does that. And I have Bailey Mullins on, and we don't agree on everything, but we're, like we agree on several things. And so, I'm trying to get there is a young man that has been on the show, and we've had debates, but he's not particularly left wing. I'm not going to mention his name because I'm still trying to get him on. He's not particularly left wing, but he is more liberal than I, and so we have those conversations. But the thing about it is, liberal and conservative has lost all its meaning.
Oh yeah, I hate it when people tell me I'm liberal. I'm like, I'm the most conservative liberal person I've ever met.
I've been told I'm the most liberal conservative person I've ever met. They think I'm drank the Kool-Aid or something, but no, it's we're going to talk about the war. We're going to talk about. Well, there was a couple of things that were said, one by each party, shall we say, by both sides of the aisle, that just really stuck in my craw. And I said, well, I have this opening. It's time to vent, and so that's what it's good for.
Well, just turn your Facebook comments on, and I'll just start typing.
All right. But it's sure. But, just a couple of news clips and all. And but like I mentioned earlier in the show about that 1975 documentary, it just struck me. I could be saying the same thing about 2026 as they were saying in 1975. And so there you go. So it's a history lesson for all you guys out there. Briefly, before we say goodbye, just remind you that the food pantries always need your help.
Yes.
Promises next Monday, Tracy Pope will be on, who is the new administrator of Promises as of... I guess he was formally confirmed early June. And so we're going to talk about, what they got. Also, I would invite you to see last Monday's show, and I had Pam Atkins on, Townsend Atkins, give her full name, Pamela Townsend Atkins, over at House of Hope here, which is about a block from here. And I've had Amber and Kelly from on the Harvest House about 2 weeks ago. And so, the need is such that it's just 24/7. It's not like, I don't think there'll ever be a place where they'll say, all right, we're good for a while. No, I mean, they may have too many cans of green beans or something like that, but they'll be short on corn or something.
But we have so many good charities around here that if they have too much of something, I'm sure someone else can use it.
They swap out a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I've asked them before, said, well, if you have excess, do call. And they say, sure. And sometimes they'll send about 3 crates of whatever over to another pantry, and they'll trade or something. Burleson is blessed to have all these organizations there that fit all these various needs. I do know as far as September 17th at Gina's, we're going to have that show. Would you like to be part of that?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I will come and
That is what happens. It's about 8 or 9 minutes. I'll get Susie Morgan to do the Pac-Man one.
Yeah,
She's kind of one of her projects, I guess.
chose Pac-Man because we talked about this, but in my book, my mom really loved children, and she was a Sunday school teacher, and we would always have some kid either living with us or coming to dinner. Like I was the only child, and there were a few times that we had, like one time my cousin, I had a friend who was being abused at her home. Like my mom would take them in, and she was their guardian. And a lot of neighborhood kids I didn't even like. They'd come take showers at our house because like they didn't have any hot water. It was just always something. And so I felt like that was the best way I could honor her.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And absolutely. Also, as far as the Chamber of Commerce, the day after that, on the 18th, they have one of their women's meetings, so that power hour with the Power of Heels over at the Next Step Women's Center. I'm sure Melissa and Candace, I don't know why I blanked out just for a second. Melissa and Candace will be there for the 17th, and they'll probably be there prior. I usually have them near the beginning of the month, routinely, and they'll have a lot to talk about, and so we got lots going on. You know, I do know October 15th, that evening, we need to set aside time for the Next Step Gala, and I believe that morning is where a group I'm involved in, the Burleson Opportunity Fund.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Now, what age is your oldest?
He's 21.
Oh, I thought you had a kid in high school.
I've got 2 in middle school,
okay.
The twins, and then I've got a 21-year-old. So he graduated.
Okay, so he's long gone. But anyway, but as far as the twins, God willing, will still be around because it really makes a lot of difference. You know, the Opportunity Fund.
Oh yeah.
When I was teaching at Hill, I had several dozen students that were getting money from the Opportunity Fund and helped them go to college. But anyway, so we'll see you tomorrow with me going off the chain a bit about, whatever the latest outrage is. Yeah. So I'll let you finish this off. Tell us what we need to know.
Oh, well, talking about a gala, we are going to have an adult prom on October 30th at Lost Oak. So if your first prom wasn't so much fun, come join us. And this one is prom with a purpose. So it's called the tagline, When Elegance Meets Action. So the funds, we are going to raise funds for the Mobius Syndrome Foundation, but we're also going to have opportunities to help Pac-Man too.
So October 30th, you say?
Yes.
Okay.
7 to 10.
Okay, then we'll definitely have you on before then in early October so you can talk about that, because I remember my prom. Not really, because I was at the batting cages with my buddies. No, when I was in Plano, 1980, going to prom was a big expense, and I didn't have. I wasn't dating a girl that steadily. Let's put it that way. I didn't date much at all in high school. Are you kidding me? I couldn't get a date in an all women's prison. But that's another bump, by the way. He's not paying attention over there. All right. Anyway,
no, I was. Yeah, that was funny.
But I'm just saying that it wasn't the same thing in my day, because it was very expensive because you had to go to the meal prior to the dance, and then you go to the dance, and and there's all this money involved. It didn't like Burleson high school proms where the meal and the dance were one and the same, right?
Mm-hmm. And I believe so.
Yeah, and so it was more affordable and better, and so. My prom, I guess I was a chaperone for about 15 of those things, and it was great. But I don't feel like I missed out, and my therapist says I'm doing wonderfully getting over that.
Well, at our prom, there's going to be alcohol. So is ours, but I mean, no, but ours is legal.
Oh,
it's going to be legal.
The thing about it is, in 1980, it was legal for most of my senior friends.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, 18.
Yeah, but now they said no, you can't do that. But afterwards, I heard the stories. But it's
going to be a lot of fun. Another tagline, and I could come up with them all day, but it's where smiles are not required because joy looks different here. So
that'd be interesting. You need to bring some photos next time. Well, before, I don't know. Do people feel self-conscious when you take photos of them?
Sometimes. I think I'm probably one of the more self-conscious people. You can't find a photo of me that's older than 5 years old.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess I decided. I'm thinking of photos of prom or whatever. And then I realized maybe they don't want their photo taken. Who knows?
But we're gonna have a photo booth. Yeah, and so I will. I'll talk them into it. And there's actually several people with Mobius who live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which is really odd because there's not very many of us. Mm-hmm. But I've got 3 friends who live locally.
Now, is this prom just for Mobius people?
No, this is to raise money for the Mobius Syndrome Foundation. Yeah, and Pac-Man. Mm-hmm. So this is adult prom.
Everybody can go.
Everyone is welcome.
All right.
We want to
Josh, you could dig up your prom date that you still in contact with the prom date?
Oh gosh, we don't talk about my prom.
Well, y'all come and I'll buy y'all a glass of wine.
Oh, it'll be fun. Well, can I bring my wife instead of Josh? I mean, people,
Oh, come on.
It's not it would be just weird, but they would question my taste at least.
I'm a good matchmaker. I can find someone for Josh. We'll set him up.
All right. Well, we'll see y'all tomorrow, and I'll be in rare form tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to it. And thanks for listening.